Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Warrior Spotlight, where the stories are real and the emotions are raw. We are so excited to be back on again another Wednesday. This is our third week. We have episodes prior to this, but this is our third week in our really awesome studio. So tonight's warrior is Jenny Wertz. So we're excited to have her. I can't wait for her to share her story and talk about all the amazing things she's done as a female veteran, all the cool stuff. She's a baddie, so I can't wait for that. But we're going to start with our reliable resources. As we went over last week, we want to share some reliable resources. Like I said, there's resources in the community, and sometimes they aren't always reliable, right? And so we want to give a shout out to Task Force 20 this week as our reliable resource. Jason Graven is the founder of that organization. And what they do there is absolutely amazing. So they use fitness to help veterans work through their mental health struggles, right? And Jason has his own story, and someday I'll have Jason back on the episode, and he'll be able to share his story of how he used fitness to help him through his mental struggles. But what's so exciting is if you're looking for, they pay for memberships. They pay for a year-long gym membership, right? Okay. And so we're going to put on there, Rain will put on their website to get a hold of them, but you can sign up, and it's not like you have to join a particular gym. You can, I don't want to say all gyms, but for the most part, they can work with your gym, and then they fund the membership for a year, which is friggin' awesome.
That's amazing.
I know, it is so awesome. But yeah, I know I did it 2 years ago. They funded me for a year, and it was amazing, and it really helped me through my transition here. Right. I used it for a multitude of reasons. One, I worked out, but I didn't have a shower here.
Right.
So it really forced me to go work out, and then I was able to take a shower.
That's awesome.
And then go back. So yeah, it was good. But Jason is an amazing community partner. We try to do a lot of different things together. Like I said, Rain's going to put out on our Task Force 20, their website, so you can find them and follow them. Okay, now we're going to talk about our community collaboration partner this week. We want to give a shout out to the BBA, which is the Bedford Business Association. This last Saturday was the BBA annual trade fair that is at the Bedford High School. And Karen Daggett reached out to me maybe 2 weeks before the trade fair and asked me short notice if we would be willing to take on the military appreciation booth.
Nice.
And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. And so we found it a privilege that she asked us to do that and be part of it. It was a lot of work. I did not plan accordingly. So it was just Julie and I who were there.
Oh, no.
And so we were running back and forth with people, but it was fantastic. So we set up in one area we had, because I really want to incorporate the whole family.
Right. I saw a photo booth.
Yeah, photo booth. Yeah. So we bought these glasses, these really fun glasses, these little head things that you could put on. And it was really just an opportunity for the civilian community to thank a veteran and take a great picture. And we could post it to the BBA's social media. And awesome. Families had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, there's some really great pictures that are out there on our social media. And then they tagged the BBA as well. And then on the other side, we did something really cool where, because the whole basis was getting the community involved, the family involved. And so you could write your veteran's name on a star.
Oh, okay.
And then what we did was we hung the star up on this wall. And it just, we had, I believe, like 180 stars on the wall, which was amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So people were really excited to be able to highlight their veteran.
Right.
Whether some of them are like, well, our veteran's no longer around. I was like, we still want to recognize them.
Right.
And so they were super excited to be able to write their name and put their name on the wall. And
That's
so, yeah,
awesome.
so
I love that.
It was an amazing opportunity for us. This opportunity allowed us to meet so many new veteran families. We've been in the community really going on 5 years now, but there's so many people who don't even know who we are, right?
Right.
And you would think everybody has heard of us by now, but they have not.
Right.
And so, Karen, I want to give you a shout out and the BBA a shout out and say thank you. It really allowed us to be recognized in the community. It allowed us to be able to engage and have more conversation and get the conversation going, asking if they've ever heard of us, both on the military family side and on the civilian side. Because so many civilians don't realize they can come out and be part of this.
Right.
They can't go through the programming, but we can't transition without them, right?
Exactly.
So we live in the civilian world,
Yes.
and we need compassionate, empathetic civilians who want to know what we do here,
Yes.
Help us in our transition, right?
Right.
And so many civilians were surprised at the BBA when we were talking about that. And it just really allowed us to have more community engagement. So we were just able to reach so many people. The spot was fantastic. And so we just, again, want to give a shout out to Karen. Thank you so much for that opportunity.
That's amazing.
Okay. Now we're getting into my girl here. So again, this is Jenny Wertz. She's not just a veteran. She is one of my near and dear sisters. Veteran sisters. So we have definitely been there for each other, texting on the phone, helping each other through ups and downs, for sure.
Definitely.
And
I can't believe it's been almost 3 years now.
I know, it's so crazy, right?
Time flies.
So why don't we start with tell our viewers your history in the military, how you got, and why you went in the military and what you did in the military.
So I went into the military right before turning 21. At this time, I was in college, community college, and it really wasn't, going fast enough for me. I just felt like I needed something different, something new, and I wanted to get out of my hometown, and the easiest way for me at the time felt like the military. It had a lot to offer me, and as always, I ask, what do you have to offer the military, right? Yeah. I was young, energetic, and very enthusiastic about just learning something new. And so I ended up joining in 2013 as a mineman. Went through training in Great Lakes, and then attended A school, which is our training for our jobs, we call them rates. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we were just having that conversation. MOSs, AFSCs, they're different.
Right. So the Navy calls them rates, and I'm a mineman. So I went to mineman training in San Diego, and from there I was.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Will you tell us what a mineman is?
So
let's not just glaze over that, because it's really kind of cool.
They're a very small group of people in the military. And their job actually incorporates a lot of other jobs. Minesweepers are small little wooden ships that only house, I can't really remember how many people, but it's super tiny. So instead of having all your typical rates that independently do their job, we have to kind of accommodate that and fill positions like armory, which typically and maybe a GM would do, or doing boatswain's mate work up on top deck.
What is that?
The knots and anchoring the ship and everything that happens on the surface of the ship.
Okay.
Really hands-on stuff. It's probably some of the hardest work in the Navy.
And did you do that?
I didn't, thankfully, because I wasn't on the ship. But that's what minemen do on the ship, and their job is to locate underwater mines. And a lot of people will say, we haven't seen a mine since World War whatever. But the thing is that it's because we have mine countermeasures that we don't see them anymore. Right. Yeah. There's still a lot of lost out there, and every so often you hear that they want to pull back on the mineman community. We don't need them, and then all of a sudden there's this big boom of minemen because we find out, guess what, we need them. Yeah. And when you think about it, minemen clear the waters for all the other ships in the Navy. They have to make sure that we have clear routes for our ships to travel.
So do they go in front of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ships our ships won't travel through waters that haven't been mined for.
Okay, so it's like equal to the Army, where they have somebody that comes through and sweeps the area beforehand.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have to have clear routes in your water for your
Okay.
vessels.
Okay.
And then on shore side, what I actually got to do was ammunition. So I got to transport a lot of ammunition and load a lot of tomahawks on ships out in Bahrain. That was a great time. A lot of sweating, so much sweating that we would soak our clothes at work. We got sweatier at work than we did at the gym.
So what was it like the first time that you had to load a tomahawk?
It was stressful, confusing, scary. That they're huge. I don't really remember what they weigh off the top of my head. We use cranes, and there's a lot of big equipment and a lot that can go wrong. And I'm not going to say like, it's not like scary, but like I said, it's just very technical, and you're dealing with a bomb, you know?
So tell the viewers what is a tomahawk and what is its purpose?
Well, a tomahawk is a guided missile.
Okay.
And it's just that you can put, pinpoint location and hit button, and it hits its target from miles and miles away. Out in the middle of the ship's out in the middle of the ocean. You just hit the button and it goes, inland. And yeah.
So what was that like, knowing that you participated in something like that?
I don't know. It's a little bit eye-opening. Like, I remember there was a day we were heading out of base, but the gates were still closed, and I think we were under some kind of lockdown or something or other. But our chief was like, "This is a world, real world mission. Get these gates open." And I was just like in the van, like, "Oh, okay, this is the stuff. Like, this is the stuff I signed up for."
Yeah. Were you excited?
Yeah. It's a thrill. It's a scare. It's a lot of things.
Yeah. But this is what we do, right?
Right.
I was telling somebody earlier, it's like, because they used to ask me, how can you leave your kids and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's like signing up for a football team and practice, and now you have an opportunity to play in the game,
right?
And you don't miss those opportunities playing the game, right? And so you want a piece of the action. That's why we did it, right?
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Where were we?
That's okay. So you were telling us what you were doing, and you did. You were loading the weapons, and yep.
Oh, and then from there, I did 2.5 years out in Bahrain doing that, loading ammo for all the moving ammo for all the commands out there, loading tomahawks. And so you don't just load tomahawks when like big world stuff is going on. So we swap them out between ships all the time, and just you have to service them, so they have to come out and stuff like that. So they're constantly moving for a variety of reasons. But from there, 2.5 years out there, came stateside, and we were in Charleston, South Carolina, for a couple of years, where I did correctional work. I was a correctional officer at the Naval Brig there. It's an all-male facility, so that wasn't always fun as a female there. The Marines always had a lot to say about the jobs that we couldn't attend to as females. It was fun.
Well, this is a good segue, because we want to, I definitely want to hear more, and we might go back, but this is a perfect segue to talk about, share some of that experience, share the experience of, what you endured in an environment like that.
It was actually pretty stressful. So like Bahrain, being out in the Middle East, it's also stressful. I was young, first time really away from home other than boot camp, right? And then now I'm in the Middle East, like halfway around the world. You're away from everyone you know, and this is the part of the military that like your coworkers kind of do become your family, because that's all you have, especially when you're in a foreign country. You get off duty and all you have to hang out with is your coworker. So then you end up getting to know these people, because not only are you hanging out with them after work, you're working with them all day long, and you're spending day in, day out with the same people. But coming stateside and working with the Marines at an all-male brig, that was a whole other kind of stressful for me, and especially because I actually went through both of my pregnancies at the brig. And so I got to experience a little bit of the backlash of female pregnancy in the military, the comments of, oh, girls only get pregnant to get out of deployments, or
so let's talk there, right? So tell the viewers how that impacted you when you heard somebody say that.
Well, it was really frustrating and angering for me because, first of all, I'm just coming back stateside from doing overseas duty. And in our Navy regulation handbook, because everything's in black and white, anything you can possibly think of doing in the military, it has its regulations on how to do it, to include pregnancy. And for us, it said to try your best to align your pregnancies with shore duty. So had I continued on my military career after my brig duty, I would have been back on ship overseas. So the ideal time for me to have been pregnant was there, but that doesn't matter. The guys still always had something to say.
But just think about that as far as viewers, right? It's when we say everything is
in black and white.
In black and white, right? Think about that, yes. Viewers. Like
you want to take an hour off, that protocol. You want to go to the doctor, protocol.
But you're planning your children around
instructions.
Yes. It's so crazy, right? And then when you're pregnant, you get crap for it.
Yes, you do.
Go ahead, keep telling us more.
So as I started to become more visibly pregnant, I didn't really want to be around the prisoners anymore. I had to be in unit with them. There wasn't, I'm not going to say there wasn't a lot of security, but all that came between me and them was a desk that just, you can just go right behind the desk. And it came a point in my pregnancy where I was just like, if something happens, I can't really say what will happen. I kind of want to protect what's here, and they didn't really listen to me and kept me there for a lot longer than I think they should have. And so a lot of the pregnant women the women who were getting pregnant were being placed in the control center, but I was not qualled yet. And instead of allowing me time to get qualled, I was being placed in other places where they can kind of not see me. And it kind of felt that way. I'm sure there was some thought process on their end, but for me, it was like, hide the pregnant girl in the back of the brig,
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And I kept hearing comments talking about like, oh, wait till you get back from maternity leave. We're going to put you here. We're going to put you there, talking about like the worst posts to put me at. And so just being pregnant and hearing all that, it was so stressful. And that's already on top of hearing the Marines call you a wasted space because you're a female who can't do strip searches on males. And it's just like, I'm on military orders.
Right.
I'm just where I need to be. I'm sorry this is inconvenient for you, and it's also inconvenient for me.
Again, regulations governed it though, right?
Right.
I mean, you didn't make up the rules. Regulations governed it.
Right. I would do it if it wouldn't put me in the female version of this place.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was just, and like I said, just hearing those comments talking about, girls just get pregnant to get out of duty. And I remember the first time hearing it, I snapped off, and everybody kind of laughed at me. They laughed like, oh, we made Wertz angry. Oh, there goes those pregnancy hormones. And I was just like, and the first time I brought up a concern to one of my higher ups, that's what he also said. He's like, this is your first pregnancy. This is probably going to happen a lot. A male told me about pregnancy and what I was going to be experiencing in pregnancy. And I was just like, Sure. Okay. I'm overreacting. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much behind. Obviously, we chose it, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be those people who say, well, you chose that career,
Right.
right? We did. We chose it.
And we
right?
endured it. Here
That's
we
right.
are.
That's right. That's right. And we kept up with the men.
Yes.
Right? We had to prove ourselves continually to keep
We
up with
had
the
to
men.
do better than the men.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Let's be honest.
Okay, you're not
We
wrong.
had to outdo the men to be seen even as equal to the men.
Yeah. And that's just something to work your whole career in a male environment to be seen as an equal.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to touch on this just because we're on the subject, right? Like, and it's taken me a long time. So I've been out almost 8 years now, right? And, I always wondered what it was like to be, what were my thoughts to be a woman? What does being a woman look like, right?
Right.
So, because like when I was in, I didn't really like to wear the skirts. I didn't, I preferred to wear the pants and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, and you try to look nice, but not too nice, right? So there's that fine line, right?
For everything.
Yeah.
For everything.
Yeah, and it's share
even your attitude. Well, going back to makeup real quick, I'm going to share this because she's a really good friend of mine still, one of the Marines who I worked with at the brig. I didn't wear makeup. I know I'm working at a brig. This is the most makeup I ever wear in my life, if you can even tell I'm wearing any. And so I show up at the brig, and once we become friends, she says, I thought I was going to have trouble with you because she said she thought I was, a pretty girl, and here I am with young Marines. But then she found out, I was married and then started my family. So she was like, oh, I was so thankful for all of that because I thought I was going to have a problem with you and my Marines. So it's just like, even the women in the military are thinking things. Yeah. Like, no offense. I love you.
Yeah. We have many battles.
Yes. And so that's just looks. Then you get into personality. You can't be too nice because if you're too nice, you're too flirtatious. You're seen very inappropriately, whether you're meaning to or not. We have this saying, I don't know if you heard it in the Air Force, but I heard it every single day of my life in the Navy, and it's perception is reality. What people perceive is what's more important than what's actually going on. And so you have to be very conscious of yourself. And on the other end, if you are too stoic, too quiet, too reserved, you're a bitch. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah. Okay. We check the over 18 box. You can.
Sweet.
This is why it's real and raw.
And then you're seen in this negative light too. Like, oh, you can't mess with her. Oh, you can't say anything around her. Or if she's like, and then no one wants to hang with you. No one wants to talk to you. And it's just this little, as a woman in the military, I feel it's this little sweet spot that you need to find. And it's hard.
And it takes you a long time to get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So how many women were on your ship?
I actually was never on a ship.
Okay.
Like I said, I did type 2 sea duty, which is overseas in Bahrain. But there was probably like 10 of us out there, 10 women. And I'm 5'8". All the girls I worked with are much shorter than me. And I remember my first day at the command. This is important because we move ammunition, and ammunition is heavy. If everyone, I'm not just talking a little single ammo can. We're talking all sizes, all varieties, up to 100-pound cans and crates, and we're moving it all. And so I come onto this command, and all the girls are about 5'4", 100 pounds, and my first day on the job, I can barely move these things. I'm struggling hard. I'm using my waist and my hips to move these boxes. And these little, I'm telling you, 5-foot little girls are just like, bam. And I was like, I need to hit the gym. I worked with a lot of very strong women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, like like we talked about, you have to outdo the men. And we were out there moving it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let's transition into, let's talk about your husband is a veteran.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So let's share a little bit, coming from a double veteran family. What's that like?
Oh, it's stressful. It's hard. In recent years, we've been together in May it'll be 10, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey. In recent years, we've noticed how much we are so alike. Going through this program, really, you put a mirror up to your face, and I was like, wait a minute.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so we've really held each other's hand through it, and it's been great to have a partner who understands what I'm going through and has been able to be there for me and be a major support system for me.
And share that piece of it. Share how you got out, and then how he got out.
So I got out from brig duty in 2019. And at that point, he was about to take orders to Bahrain, which I ended up not cleared medically to go to Bahrain. So as luck would have it, this rarely happens in the military, but it just so happened that the person who was in charge of cutting his orders at the time had a similar situation himself, where he chose deployment and it cost him his family. And he kind of gave Eddie that out. He's like, I've been through the same. Do you want to go? Or if not, I can find something else for you. And he did that for us. He found us orders in San Diego. So we showed up to San Diego with no furniture for 3 months in November of 2019. And then a couple short months later, we go into COVID. And so we experience a military move right into COVID. But in California, we were around my family, so, and my friends. And so it kind of helped a little bit until he went on deployment. And it was the very first glimpse of seeing myself at my full ability without his support. And I struggled. I'm sorry, I still get so emotional.
It's okay.
So I deal with not just PTSD, but I deal with fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain and fatigue. But at that time, the stress came on and it started to affect my body physically. And I was in pain every day and taking care of 2 little girls. It was really hard. And when he came home from deployment, he was selected for E7 promotion, which is Chief Petty Officer in the Navy. It's one of the biggest promotions, in the Navy for enlisted sailors. I'm sorry, but it was a lot for him to handle, and he ended up submitting hardship orders because even though his ship had just came off deployment a month ago, he was getting ready to go back on deployment in another 4 months. And his ship was like, you don't have time to go through season and also submit. At the time, it wasn't going to be hardship orders for separation. It was going to be, I'm not quite sure what it's called. I don't remember, but it's just like orders to maintain in the same area.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we would be in San Diego much longer. It'd be more stable for me to get my health in order, get my doctors and all that situated. But in the process of everything, like I said, it just happened so quick. It ended up turning into hardship orders, and we were out, and we headed here in March of 2022. That's when you guys came here, right?
Yep.
And so I live right up the road, almost literally, and I'm sitting my phone chronically doom scrolling as most of us
Doom
do
scrolling.
these days. And I, had this idea of what I wanted my life to look like here. So I got onto the community pages, and it, like I said, it was we got here in March, and by now it's like May time frame, and I saw someone post around for what, Memorial Day, right?
Mhm.
And they posted little blessings, and to this day I don't remember whose post it was. I wish I could. Because seeing that post, I was like, oh, that's super cool, it's right up the road. Yeah, I'll give it a look. But you know what, I need to settle in. I'll give myself a year. I'll give till next May to check it out. And then at the end of the week, I was in the driveway. And I actually recently found a video. I sent it to you. I took a video of my first time driving in. I love that I have that. But this place has been incredible since that moment.
I remember you coming in the camper. We didn't have any of this
water,
nice.
No light.
Yeah, we didn't have any of this stuff. We were out in the camper, and
it felt so meant to be to me, because I had just moved, and then you guys were like, oh, we just moved too. And had you guys been at Duke's, even though it's only an extra 7-minute drive, it would have taken me that much longer to have made the choice to drive out there.
Mm-hmm. And then you got connected with us.
I did.
And then you decided to go through the program.
I started going through the program, yes.
So share with our viewers, when you heard it was going to be 50 weeks, what did that, was that intimidating to you? Was that like, oh, I can't commit? And I've been graduated 2 years.
I've been done for 2 years, and 50 weeks still sounds intimidating. But I'll tell you what, I had been through so many of those 12-week programs and so many therapists that I was just like, you know what, I owe it to myself to try this. It's horses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done the 12 weeks, and it never felt like enough time. So even though it felt very like a big time commitment, a long time commitment, I saw myself like, I'm going to be here for a whole year. Are you? Whoo! Here I am.
Yeah,
3 years later. A year probably went like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was your horse?
Maggie. Miss
How
Maggie.
special is Maggie to you?
Oh,
what does she mean to you?
She means everything to me. She's a little spitfire out there. And when the most moodiest of horses comes to you and rubs her big old head up and down your torso, it just, something fills your soul. Like you're chosen for something special. I don't know.
Oh, that's amazing. What would you say was one of your most challenging I want to say phases through the program?
Honestly, I think each phase had its challenge. Let's see. I think
Well, what was the challenge in phase 1?
Honestly, just getting to know your horse, right? I was terrified.
Had you been around horses before?
Very briefly. My uncles ride. I have a couple of cousins that ride. They own horses. But other than like one time at a rodeo somewhere, no, I didn't really know about horses. So it's really intimidating walking up to this big horse. You know, it can kick your teeth out. Like, you got to be very respectful of their space. I remember it used to be an arm's length away.
Right. So what was it like? Do you remember the first time that you got on her?
Yes, I was terrified again. And she never wanted to go to a certain corner. And every time we were like walking away from you guys, she would slow down. But then once we made it around the turn and she saw you guys, she'd like giddy on up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, slow down.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. And just, learning her little mannerisms and the way she is. all of it is very challenging.
Right.
And then, being the Spitfire that I am too, to have to like control yourself and not want to lash out in frustration. And yeah.
So the program offers you the people, your team, your equine team is not giving you the answers,
No.
right?
No. And I think that's also a challenge because I would go through a session with whatever I was prompted with. And first of all, sometimes these prompts are so vague that you're just like, what the heck are you asking me to do? Sure, I guess. And then I would put it together and then, or, talk it out and then still be like, I don't really grasp what we're doing. But then I would leave and just like all the thoughts come flooding through and everything that was asked of me in the session actually starts to click in the daily. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I see it now. And this is why you don't give me the answer. This is why I have to figure it out. But it's so frustrating.
Yeah, right. But it's so awesome because the veteran comes up with their own best solution,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
we're not a 4-wall talk therapy or anything like that.
No.
And I love phase 2 because every veteran, we build that 10 weeks of trust, right? In phase 1. And then in phase 2, because you guys trust us and we ask you to go do something,
Right.
in phase 2, you stand there and you're like, what the hell are you asking me to do? I don't know what this is dumb, but I trust you now. And so I'm going to go do it.
Yes.
But that's why it's once a week. So you have 6 days to process that.
Yeah. And you
right?
need them.
Yeah. And you can really process a lot in those 6 days, can't you?
Yes, you can.
So you want to talk a little bit about that? About as far as like, I know you just said like you would, so you would leave here not knowing, and then what would happen? Like,
well, it's, whatever you were prompt for in that session. I don't want to give too much of our sessions away, whatever you're prompt with, maybe in that moment, it's really, really hard to like really think of what's happening. But then you leave and the thing that triggers you happens and you're like, this is a perfect place where I can use said thing that I came up with that made no sense during therapy.
Yeah. But how did you feel about phase 3, the EMDR?
Oh, phase 3 is the roughest. It's the most challenging.
Why do you say that?
Because you really have to dig deep inside yourself, and it's kind of where you hit the deepest parts of yourself, and you don't want to. It's really fragile. It's stuff like, for me, it's stuff that you haven't even thought about since your childhood, and they just randomly bring it up. And you're like, I haven't talked about that for like 30 years now for a reason.
Yeah.
And but sometimes there's no way but through it. And having the support here helps. Going out and finding that special spot on the property to mull over the session and really let yourself regroup before leaving. And that's why it's so much more than just going to your therapist, because a therapist, you walk into their, not just the office. I wish you just walked into the office. You have to walk into a waiting room with a whole bunch of other people and then wait to be called back. And it feels like you're in some kind of hospital. And that's not the case here. Some veterans even have their sessions in different parts of the property, right? Like depending on the weather allowing. But that's what's so great, that you have that support during EMDR. It is the roughest in my personal opinion, but it's also the most rewarding.
So what would you say is something significant that sets our mental health treatment plan different from what you've experienced in the past?
All of it, from the 50 weeks versus 12 weeks or group, and you guys do offer groups too for spouses, right? And the dinners, veteran dinners, there's that, so that's different. but having the family aspect of it, the, like you just said earlier, the civilian community support, you when I come in here, I know I'm looking. First off, you can tell who's a veteran and who's a civilian. But that's the great part, that like you just walk in and you know, like there's just this sense of community, that camaraderie that we had in the military that we don't typically get from our civilian community. But having them still in this space is still so meaningful, you know, seeing all the volunteers and seeing how much they care about the veterans in this community. It really makes you feel even more welcome at home, not just here at Little Blessings, but in the community, in the city. Other things are the 18 acres here. And the fact that even though the program itself is 50 weeks, you still aren't limited to just those 50 weeks. Like the program is 50 weeks, but you have access to the ranch well beyond that. Like I said, this is two years. I'm going on my second year from having finished the program, and I'm still here.
And so, you call this place home?
Oh, I do. This is definitely home. If I'm not at my physical home, I am here.
And matter of fact, your girls were here and they were mad they had to leave.
Yes, they were. They were very upset.
But your girls went through the kids program, right?
They did. They got to benefit from that.
Well, what did you see? What were some of the outcomes that you saw in your girls from the program that they went through?
My youngest, I feel she benefited the most from the program. When she started the program, she was one of the most quietest kids I had ever met. She hated saying hello and even more saying goodbye. And now she walks around hugging everybody, and I can't get her to be quiet. Like she always has something to talk about and sing. Oh, and it's beautiful to see your children blossom the way a parent wants to see their kids thrive, you know? And not just my kids. I remember going through the program and every week hearing the other parents have comments about their own kids and their progress. And it's such a beautiful thing. And you just want to root for them all, you know?
And that's what's cool too, right? So, I mean, the kids are going through the program, but you're connected with other veteran parents.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there's a completely different connection that's happening there than that's happening anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Not in the veteran treatment area, not in the spouses group. You as parents connecting.
Yes.
You know, rooting your children on through there. That's pretty powerful too, huh?
It is. It is. And getting to see the kids go through a couple of the things that, you know, we go through. It's really it's funny. It's cute because they're so little and they're out there with little flags too. Like, hey, I just did that last week in therapy.
Yeah, but they're great, huh?
Yes, it's great for them.
Yeah,
I love it.
So what does this space mean to you and your family now that you've completed the program? You're 2 years after your graduation. What does this space mean to you?
It's still a grounding space for me. It's you know, you've seen it firsthand. I was obviously a lot more hands-on when going through the program, and I feel over the past 2 years we've kind of like backed up a little bit, but at no point have I ever stopped feeling welcome. At no point did I ever feel like obligated or pressured to be here, or, you know, it's just where life has us at this moment. And, and like I said, it's a grounding space. If I'm ever in a mental struggle where I feel the whole world is against me, because I don't know about you, but that happens to me, I can sit there and go, no, you have people at Little Blessings who care. And it's enough to pull you out of it.
I love you, girl, so much. Oh, and that's what I love too, right? Is that we don't claim to fix anybody.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there's absolutely no judgment here. There's just continual support after. Fiona wants to give you some love.
Yes. I'll take all the cuddles.
So there's just continual support that happens here.
Yes.
Yeah. With Fiona. Yeah. And so that's what's so great, right?
It is, yes.
And so many times, you know, I think this space offers where we don't even have to have conversation. We can just be in the same space and just comfort one another, right?
Yeah.
And just know that this space offers that, right? For your entire family.
Whether it be a human, a dog, a horse, there's someone here to listen.
What is your favorite spot on the ranch?
You know, it's changed. It used to be the quarry, but in more recent times, I like this area out here a whole lot more, where the community dinners happen. Yeah, I love that area.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit. What's out there?
You guys have the equipment for the kids. And what's that called? Gaga ball?
Gaga ball, yeah.
Gaga ball. Yeah. And the trails, the fire pit area, and just a bunch of tables and chairs, and the hammocks. There's just so much.
Right.
Horseshoe. I know you have cornhole boards. There's a lot of things to do here.
Yeah, and we're adding more. We're so excited. So there's a wall out there that it's going to be. Originally, we wanted Kendall to build like a small building for the tracker. And I'm so glad that did not pan out, because the way my office sits, I would be looking at a building instead of the horses. Yeah, the beautiful view. And I was like, I cannot put a building there. It will make me mad. And so we're going to use it as an activity wall. So yeah, on the one side, we'll have an area where we'll put a dartboard. We'll have axe throwing. On the other side, there'll be a chalkboard area for the kids.
They will love that.
There'll be like a rock climbing wall for them too. So yeah, lots of, I know it's going to be so fun. It's going to be great. Yeah.
See, just more things.
So I want to share something. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. You've come a long, long way, right? And so in the beginning, you wouldn't go anywhere by yourself.
Nowhere, not even the grocery store. Honestly, here was the only place I would come alone, and it wasn't all the time. Half the time I was being dropped off, or I, like you said earlier, my kids and my husband dropped me off. Yeah.
And people ask me how we rate success, or how we score success around here. I'm about to let you hear. So tell our viewers, in the last couple days, what have you been doing?
I've been going to work. So, you know, I'm 100% disabled veteran, and I'm home too much, and I was getting to the point where, you know, it was affecting me, and I had to put a lot of what I learned here to practice. And like I said, it's been challenging, but I kept, you know, just putting one foot in front of the other. And today was my second day of work, and I've survived so far. And I hope to continue working.
What was it like being there? I mean, wait, let's back it up, right? What was it like? I know you filled out an application.
Oh,
yeah. You filled out an application because you were telling me about it. Yeah.
Frustrating, because it's actually my first time after service. It was my first application. The last time I did it, I was a teenager. So,
and I'm sure some things have changed.
I was looking at it like it was in a foreign language, and I speak another language. So it was like, this really doesn't make sense. And then doing all the requirements, like getting your fingerprints done, it seems so easy. But I showed up to our local sheriff's little house department that we have. Yeah, well, it's not a real sheriff's department, so there's no one there. And I was just like, okay, I have to find a real sheriff's office. We go there, and I walk in, and after already having a meltdown in the car, and, and you know, pull myself together. I got this, I'm a big girl. And I go in, and they're like, oh, we can't do fingerprints here, but you can call this place. And I was like, thank you. Get back in the car. And I'm just like, you know, I'm over this. I'm not doing this. This isn't for me. I don't know what I was thinking. Hello. Can I make an appointment to get my fingerprints done? And, you know, so every step of the way was really nerve-wracking, very frustrating. But like I said, I took out my little tool belt. And literally every step of the way, I had to stop, take a deep breath, and, you know, push through. And here I am.
And what was it like when you got that letter?
Oh, it was,
or that email?
it was such a relief. It was such and a boost of confidence. It made me feel even more able,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 days in, it was
Yeah,
great. I
yeah.
love it. I'm glad I did it.
And your girls are at the school, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and what do you do? What's your job?
I'm a playground aide, and I watch the kids during recess, and so my girls have me at recess too, and it's a win-win for everybody. I'm out of the house, I'm employed, and I get to see my kids for 20 minutes.
And they like it.
They love it.
They're little enough to still like you out there.
Yes, thankfully. Well, and they asked me to push them on the swings. So
oh, that's a win.
Right.
Well, tonight when you guys got here. Yep, got it?
Yep. Sorry.
Oh, tonight when you guys got here, the girls were just going on and on and on about how, you're at their work, at their school, and their little faces were just their smiles were so great. Yeah, they really were excited about having you there, huh?
Yeah, I actually didn't tell my youngest about it. I just let her find me on the playground.
Oh,
it was really exciting.
Oh, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the friendships that you have built here. Right, this place is more than a therapy facility, right?
Yeah.
It's more than a treatment center. It's more than community dinners.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found friendship here?
Absolutely. There's so many veterans that I've connected with, and every time I come here, they're like family. And, for me, I'm from Southern California, and all of my family is still in Southern California. So to come here and have a little bit of family, it's the best.
God, I love you so much.
Yeah. I'm really trying.
No, you're amazing.
No, yeah, but the way that the other veterans care about you, we know what we're all here for. And even though all of our stories are different, a lot of our symptoms are the same, a lot of our struggles are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So again, even though our stories may not match from the past,
mm-hmm.
today we're a lot of us are talking the same things, saying
mm-hmm.
similar things. And it's great to have another place other than my husband, to have that support and have people who understand you and accept
mm-hmm.
you,
mm-hmm.
and ultimately love you just for who you are,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah. And it's amazing to have another female veteran, right? Like,
yes, there's not many of us.
Yeah, I think you and I connect so much, right? And so when I was struggling in Hawaii, you were my go-to, right?
I'm glad you were able to text.
Yeah, and you helped me. I was in a very bad spot. Yeah, and that's what's so amazing. I'm like, now I'm gone. That's what's so great about it, though, is that we truly have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can say anything to each other.
Yep.
We know that we trust each other 100%.
Absolutely.
We don't judge each other, and we're honestly there to support each other. And I can tell you, it was so important to me going through those struggles to have somebody on the other end who really knew what I was enduring. Right. And be my cheerleader. Right. You definitely were my cheerleader. You would text. I know. Yeah. You would text me and, how are you sleeping? Sure, sir. How are you sleeping? And just checking in. Right. And then even when I got home, how are you sleeping? How are things going? And things that we do today. The weather's getting warmer, so we'll be able to be having our bonfires.
Yes.
Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a euchre night here, which was just,
so
it's
much fun.
Yeah, it's just so chill. And this Saturday, we're going to do the same thing. But I believe there's going to be more people coming this Saturday.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, and the kids will be here. So it's not a space that we discount the kids. They get to come and be part of it.
Yes.
And man, it's just going to be awesome.
And again, that's really, truly, like, I feel the biggest difference is that family aspect of it, that I don't feel I have to show up alone. I can bring my kids. I cannot bring my kids. I can bring my husband, not bring my husband, but I have that option of not doing it alone, And of course I have the veterans, but allowing my family into my healing space is is a world of difference, because I can go home and tell them about it, but having them here to experience bits and pieces of it too it's just amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So what would you say Eddie would say would be some of your changes that he has seen in you?
My outbursts. I used to have very angry outbursts. I was a screamer, a yeller. I love to yell. And if I was angry enough, I might even put in a screech, this face is probably the face that he'd make if he heard me,
Yeah, right.
That's one. And two is just feeling like everyone's against me. And my lack of confidence, and these are things that have changed. I have enough confidence to apply for a job and go to work every day, right?
Yeah, so proud of you.
And there's a lot of other things that I've changed in my daily. Like the biggest one for me, like I've said, my fibromyalgia sometimes does get the best of me, but I've learned to give myself grace and allow myself the rest days if I need them.
And this is not a made up disease, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. So tell us some of the struggles that you go through with this.
So honestly, anything can cause my body to hurt. I can just try to make dinner, and in the time that I stand there 15-30 minutes to cook dinner, I can be in excruciating pain. Or I can come out here for the whole day and scoop poop and be just fine. Like there is no telling how I'm going to feel, and that is also part of the challenge of dealing with fibromyalgia, that you can't always commit because you're afraid of what that commitment is going to cost you. Because while people see you, or at least like me, they see me maybe at Little Blessings events, they see me out and about with my kids at the zoo, and they may think, oh yeah, you see, she couldn't have fibromyalgia, she's making it up. You don't see all my lidocaine patches up and down my legs. You don't see all the medication that I took prior to, and you definitely don't see the recovery for that. My kids miss me when I commit somewhere else, because if I use my energy to do something, it means I'm forfeiting the energy that I would have then given my family. And I wouldn't call that fake, because people try to say it's lazy, it's all in your head. Whether it's in my head or not, I'll believe you it originates in my head. But it's very physical. Yeah. I feel it. I don't care if it's made up. I feel it.
Yeah.
And it stops you from doing things you want to do. It's not just like, oh, I can't work, I hurt. It's my kids want to go to the zoo, but I'm not going to be able to walk for more than an hour without crying. It's my kids want me to play with them, but I can't catch things because it feels like I just got punched in the hands when something hits them. And so it, like I said, it's very real, and it very much impacts your life. It just differs from day to day. Some days I feel great, some days I don't. And that's a new challenge that I'm going to have to navigate with my job. Yesterday after work was very painful. Eddie gave me a massage, and I went through the whole thing to help myself recover for today. Today was also a little painful, not as much as yesterday. And it's just taking it day by day, see how it goes.
Yeah. And you were able to help my daughter Summer. My daughter Summer struggles with that. And I knew that I could connect you to her because you're going through the same thing.
Right.
And she just got out of the military. And so it was really nice to be able to go, a trusted resource to connect with my daughter. Right. Oh my gosh. I don't know how an hour went by so fast already, but it always does, right?
Yeah.
Before we want to say
a good conversation.
Right. Well, we definitely want to say thank you to you.
Thank you for having me.
You know how much I love you and love your family. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show and share your real and raw emotions, and share, some personal things that happened in your life, which we absolutely appreciate. Before we go, we want to, I want to give, I meant to do this at the beginning, to talk about the disco party, we are so excited. The Denny Schaefer disco party. The tickets are out on our Facebook and on our website. They are out for the general populace to get the tickets. The tables are limited. They're selling really, really fast already, so we're excited about that. And then we have reverse raffle tickets. You can get the reverse raffle tickets here at the ranch. You can get a hold of us, or you can purchase them online, and then we can mail them to you, or you can pick them up. So we have a lot of things going on here at Little Blessings. So you guys can reach out, follow us on our events, and come out and support one of the events. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again tonight, and we will see you next week. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.